So, Mr. Dyson, It's a big pleasure to have you here. Thanks for that, first of all.
Great to be here in Berlin.
So, why is Next Berlin an important event to you personally?
Well, it's the source of so much. I mean, Johnny von Neumann came from Berlin. He was here in 1930, and in a different world he might have stayed, and history would have been very different. But to come back here to the source of all these ideas about digital computation that came from Germany, came from Leibniz. And as I think you heard me say, that the two prophets of the digital world of the Old Testament was Leibniz, and of the New Testament was Johnny von Neumann, who both did their most important work here in Germany.
As you just mentioned him, what are your points this year that you want to talk about, your topics?
Well, actually, for several years I've been preaching that the important thing really may be analog computation, not digital computation, and now I see that's the theme of this conference. So in a way I think Next is hopefully ahead of the curve in giving some recognition to that we are using digital hardware, but we are increasingly using it in analog ways, and that's a fundamentally different kind of computation that is just as powerful, if not more powerful, if we recognize that.
So would you say this is maybe the most important change that we had during the past years?
We don't know yet. It's like we now look back at the 1940s as this great transition to digital computing, but at the time that wasn't clear. It always sort of takes sort of the job of historians come later and say, oh, here was the important transition. So maybe we come back in 20 years and say, okay, this was an important transition.
Because it's always easier afterwards. If there is one question that I always wanted to ask George Dyson, then it would be, what would you think? Where would humanity be today without the machines?
We would be very different. I mean, if you're talking about computing machines, you can see it in the hardware. I mean, you look up and see all this 19th, 18th century structures that were built without computers, and you realize how much work went into that, and now we do it digitally. There's 3D printers sitting over there ready to make whatever you can think of in 5 minutes. So it's a different world, but we need to remember how it was before we had these tools.
True. It's a pleasure to have you here, Mr. Dyson. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.